This is the sound of trying to find sounds from all differing directions and trying to get very weird with sounds in the future somehow. It is a matter of finding the time, it's a matter of finding the space and the mind space to be able to sit back and set back a little bit of time to be able to just make the weirdest sounds in the whole world and be able to do some research, to be able to dig a hole and be able to find a connection to the roots in the soil especially, and find the electricity in the grains that are illuminating rainbows that are unforeseen and unseen in the sky. But it's not possible to be able to notice unless you're able to visualize and connect with the intergalactic spectrums that have radiant connections to the atmosphere that is completely invisible, that is connecting the soil to the sky, and all of the particles in between are collecting, and connected by electricity on a consistent basis. But it's impossible to see unless you get directly into the soil's energy, oh the energy, directly, oh the energy. This is the sound of trying to search for new sounds all the time, always searching for the weirdest places to try to make infinity sounds in the future to be able to match with this punk rock sound of music. So it's like punk rock EDM, yeah, but even stranger, even some ambient music, but also anything goes. And so yesterday we started talking about trying to make a job inquiry in a couple of directions in the Philippines, and to be able to try to commit to action to be able to go to the Philippines if I was able to find a job in the Philippines necessarily. And so after the podcast ended yesterday, I applied for like 20 jobs necessarily in the Philippines, which was on LinkedIn, but it never really seems to work out super smoothly on LinkedIn because it's such a large wash of differing items that different people get from different job posters on LinkedIn necessarily. But it does not necessarily matter because today we were able to figure out and necessarily conclude a resolution to be able to get a job in the Philippines, to be able to maybe just try to go and set forth some action, to be able to commit to the action, to actually go there, to be able to follow through that action if possible. We have to do a little bit of an exit tour to be able to visit a couple places in the States before actually trying to leave and develop a departure date for trying to venture out back to the Philippines in essence. But we figured out the ability to be able to leverage workaway.info as the website to be able to get some work out there, to be able to also just be able to find a place to stay and be able to just sort of barely get by, be able to develop a connection between a place to stay and work, and be able to try to help out some local family or something to this effect, which is almost an exchange of volunteering for, like, in essence, a place to stay, more or less, even though it's not about just trying to find a place to be able to shack up and just try to rent some place to be able to live there and try to stay and be able to try to get a normalish job. Was a conclusion to be able to try to find something a little bit more localized, to be able to connect with the localization scene, hopefully in a hopeful sense and an aspirational sense, to then therefore have a little bit more of an ingrained quality within a local situation, if you will. But it's also a matter of trying to figure out something to be able to stay in a little bit of a short and or a long term, I suppose you could say. And so this somewhat was able to complete the circle from the front to the back, from this country to another country, to be able to just have like a minimal mindset to be able to follow through with some form of a year to year process, to be able to complete that circle from a year to year process where it's a bit seasonal, and we have a base mentality, a base spaces and base of a home base to be able to move from and move around from one side to the next, from one aspect of 1 month to another, and then therefore be able to have that somewhat be a cyclical sense, which hopefully can develop a ground root base and a ground framework root base space in the mindset, but also in a physical space in the word, where as you're actually able to go and run through the process, run the process. Running the process is like an expression for actually running the course of a lifetime, of actually running the course of an engine. Like, you're running the process, but you are the engine and you are the fan belt in between all of the gears that are in the engine that is moving in one direction or another, and you are running the process, meaning you're actually like the fan belt in of itself that is actually running the timing belt. The timing belt is running from one pulley to another that's making the whole entire engine move. And so therefore it is like you are running the course, you are running that track, you are physically running that track, and that is what I am trying to do from 1 year to the next in essence. But to be able to have a place and a space that is corresponding to an ability to follow through with certain aspirations, and being able to try to have a place that's sort of a minimal mindset place to be able to follow through with just minimal mindset things, and then possibly be able to grow from that base mindset, I suppose you could say. But this is the base framework for now. We have NYC and we have the Philippines for now, and it's also a matter of following through with that action. We have to follow through. We have a commitment to action, so to speak, in terms of this podcast and this mindset and this mind frame, because we've developed the aspiration, we developed the podcast yesterday, we developed the commit to action framework, if you will. But now we've gotten into the methodology of being able to try to develop almost like a commit to action games, almost like a commit to action game, like we developed almost like a commit to action game where, in essence, everybody in the world is able to do something similar to this, where in essence you're able to bet on your own actions. And it's similar also in a higher aspirational sense, like Elon Musk just released their highest abundance strategy long-term sustainability plan, which is part 4 of their plan, which was released maybe 10 days ago or something, for Tesla, the company Tesla, to be able to sustainably try to sustain abundance in the long-term sense. And if Tesla and Elon Musk, if Elon Musk is able to clear all the gates, if he's able to clear the sustainability goals and the path that's set forward in front of him, his sustainability package of incentive and incentivization package to be able to receive money from following through and being able to follow through and move through the pipelines and the gates and the tunnels that are set forth to him, if he's able to accomplish the goals that have been set forth, then he is meant to and set forth to be compensated a $1.1 trillion compensation package, which is pretty interesting, you could say, because it also allows for the development of the quantification of developing certain pipelines and plates and developing an engine and pulley system. Whereas if enough of the engine, enough of the value is developed in the engine, then you're going to run through the process. You have developed an idea and an itemization to be able to commit to the process of running through that engine, and running that engine actually being the physical person who acts as a symbol for the pulley to be able to run from all aspects and all angles of the engine, and be able to run all around all the pulleys and be able to complete the circuit and the circle, and conceptually, but also conceivably complete the circuitry in a successful fashion, that the quantification and being able to live out and run through those gates in a physical sense, being able to run that engine and that process in a physical sense, causes the trigger to be able to activate the compensation package and the incentivization package that corresponds to that analysis of that compensation package to become realized, like all of the financial analysts and analysis has corresponded to be able to develop a $1.1 trillion package, incentivization package for Elon Musk to be able to complete all of the circuitry that he needs to be able to connect to in the future, be able to develop the activation of his $1.1 trillion incentivization package receipt. And in this same fashion, it's all about trying to commit to action games, even though for myself, I'm trying to talk about committing to action for just developing this basic plan of action for one side to another, going from Philippines back to the US conceivably as a base conceptual package to be able to start to develop the engine for Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios, the brand, and more so of the concepts that have been spoken about in the past, to be able to make them to come to reality, and also trying to develop more of a team that is able to develop a quantification package, to develop more of an incentivization package with numbers, using numbers and leveraging conceptual mindsets to be able to continue to develop a process where it's possible to be able to compile enough data to be able to then therefore develop gates, and upon completing the gates and completing the circuitry and completing the ability to be able to walk through different gates, turn different corners, walk through different gates, and complete the circuitry and be able to complete the circle of the process, to be able to make it complete, that therefore activates and triggers the circuitry of the incentivization package to be released to myself for Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios as well, in future forward thinking mindsets. And so that therefore is why we're committing to action, and also talking about the commit to action games, so that everybody in the world is able to develop certain incentivization conceptual packages as well. I'm trying to bet out loud. I'm just trying to bet out loud on my actions. I'm not necessarily saying it's a game plan, master plan necessarily, but it's similar and it corresponds to Tesla. And it's also like a matter of having a couple gates to be able to try to follow through with it, and also developing future quantification, mindset, analysis, to be able to then therefore be able to do more analysis, to have direct monetary energy matching conceptual quantification, analysis, projections, and calculations that are future projections in the future. And that is an aspiration within one of the commit to action actions that we're trying to also post into the future for Dinky Tech and Change for Game Studios, just to be able to have that capability in the future, because that analysis capability and calculation quantification is quite a fetching process and prospect. So we're hoping to get there indeed. And also, a way that everybody else in the world is able to do this is being able to just do business with partners that are friends, and just have friends that are partners, period. meaning at the same time to be able to quantify the ability to be able to commit to action and have action be able to follow through, and also to be able to calculate different energies and different calculations of different quantifications for different value in the world, which is also developing philanthropy energy. We want to develop philanthropy energy. That's the whole purpose of talking about philanthropy energy in this podcast, because the more philanthropy energy that's generated, the more monetary energy that's generated on the back end of that philanthropy energy that's being generated on the front end. And so therefore people are compensated all sorts of monetary energy packages from being able to complete and generate philanthropy energy, generating philanthropy energy, and therefore committing to action game plans, like having a base, more so of a base commit to action game plan. It's like making bets on yourself. It's like making bets on your stock, except yourself is the stock, and you have to make actions and be able to try to develop following through with them. But being able to have partners that are only your friends means that only your friends will be able to hold you accountable. All your friends are able to hold you accountable, only your actual real friends. If your real friends can't hold you accountable to your dreams, or they don't want to hold you accountable to your dreams because they're thinking otherwise, or they don't want you to be doing those things that you're talking about doing necessarily, then they're not your actual friends. So you're doing business with actual friends in life. All of your partners in life are just your actual friends. So being able to follow through with this process entails helping your friends help you to be able to, for them to be able to be accountability coaches for you. So nonetheless, you're only doing business, you're only doing partnerships, you're only making new connections with friends that are also your partners, that are able to hold you accountable for being able to follow through with developing value in the world. So you're developing philanthropy energy by proxy, and at the same time, you're developing monetary energy gates to be able to walk through, and you're developing yourself as an engine to be able to continue to be able to make yourself into an engine and make yourself the pulley in an engine where you're running the process. You're running all around as the pulley in an engine system. You're running around as a timing belt in an engine where you're running around all of the pulleys as the timing belt in an engine, and you are running the process by being the timing belt in of itself, and you're running around the circle. And once you've completed the circle in the circuit, then you activate and you trigger the spark, which triggers the incentives to be able to be returned. And for me, myself personally, if I'm able to follow through with any of this action and commit to any of this action, we have to stop in a couple places in the US before leaving the country necessarily. I think so, to be able to try to maybe develop a hedge fund in Las Vegas if possible, but I have no idea if that's going to be possible at all or not. That's one of the hopeful ambitions, if you will, necessarily, but I don't know if that's possible necessarily. But we want to then move on to the Philippines, I guess you could say. And also trying to commit to action in this fashion is like a game. It's like a game because you're betting on different incentivizations, similar to Elon Musk betting that he can run the gates to be able to try to activate his $1.1 trillion process. It's like you're betting. It's like a friend does a bet for you. Hey, if you can make if you can throw a basket into that basketball hoop from this place that we're standing at right now, I'll give you $20, or I'll give you $5, or I'll give you 17 cents, whatever it is. That is the quantification of the value that's developed, and the hoops that are needed to be jumped through are necessarily quantified in that bet per se, necessarily, and that bet is outlined by that quantification of what the value is from the other person. But that person's holding you accountable to the money by holding you accountable by holding the money necessarily, and also trading you the money if you're able to accomplish getting through those hoops, being able to throw that basketball through that hoop, and then activating the trigger of the incentivization package, whatever that incentivization package is, developing the incentivization package on the front end, and then being able to activate the trigger to be able to release the incentivization package on the back end. Those are the betting games. Those are the commit to action betting games for being able to bet for all kinds of rewards to be released by developing those packages and having friends to hold you accountable to what those packages can be, and have them be able to hold the package of the goods. They have them like an escrow company, be able to hold the goods and be able to acknowledge the goods. And these are also partners in business. Partners in business are these people, just like this analysis necessarily, and developing the process for this engine to be able to develop highest value concepts in essence, to be able to develop analysis, to be able to trigger the release of the reward by developing gates to be able to walk through, and pulleys to be able to run around, to be able to complete the circuitry of the engine like a timing belt, running around all of the pulleys of an engine to be able to complete the circuit and the cycle of the process. Oh yeah. It seems I like to abandon my mindset every single day. Almost every single day I seem to abandon my mindset. I'm trying to develop a new mindset every single day. And so these podcasts are almost like a little bit of a peculiar reframing, restructure, reframework of the mindset, being able to reconstruct itself in different fashions, to be able to provide different value to different people all around the world. And so we're almost done for today. What is it that we want to try to say as we're speaking at the end of the day? Now we're getting to the end of the day in our speaking session today. Yeah, and we might one day hope to try to actually speak in some kind of combining a DJ set with a speaking session type of a situation like this, but it's hard to add music in the background of these speaking sessions and actually be able to hear the speaking, if you will, if there's too much music in the background. So it's a little bit difficult of an equation to be able to try to make edutainment by making music from these podcasts, having music in the background. We'll try to experiment sometime and see if we can add music in the background of these podcasts, and see if you could actually keep continually understanding the words that are being spoken on the front end. And then it'd be super nice to be able to speak like this on a stage, like a formal speaking engagement, but also there's little bits of music in the background to be able to make it a little more fluid and like edutainment, yeah. And so this is an ambition to be able to try to get out to the Philippines and get out of the country, so we have a cyclical process between New York and the Philippines every single year going forward, and be able to try to actually develop a business on the back end of that. But following through is always so much harder. That's why abandoning mindsets every day is almost like a default process. It's a default process for being able to keep the process going, keeping the process moving, keeping the process in motion, always in motion. There is a saying from the Math Sorcerer on YouTube that you have to never quit, and because quitting equals not necessarily being able to win, it's about just being able to not quit. Not quitting equals the concept that is equal to winning necessarily, and it's also equal to classical music that is continuous on a loop, that is akin to developing math equations on a continuous basis, that is a framework of mentalities continuing to stream on a continuous pipeline of continuous, consistent, unfolding value on a perpetual, unending, infinite sense of a mindset of energy expansion. Please help us collab with more sounds. We need more sounds. We need more collaborations with sounds in the external spaces in the world. We want to publish more sounds that are open and released, to be able to be released for everybody to be able to use these sounds, these vocals, on every single podcast every single day, so everybody can make new sounds and remix and remaster all these sounds from every single day's podcast, hopefully going forward. That would be super ambitious and super neat if everybody's able to assist with this process, so we can keep reinventing the process every single day and combine with the rest of the world and try to be ambitiously connecting with different pipelines of philanthropy energy every single day, philanthropy energy every single day. And welcome to today's episode, which is welcome to the Commit2Action games, which everybody can do, just like Elon Musk did. He had all these gates laid out in front of him after the past momentum that he's caused in the past, and so now he's got $1.1 trillion gates in front of him. If he passes through all the gates and all of his finance people greenlight his finances, if they decide that he's committed to action and he's followed through with his action after betting him the $1.1 trillion package through his incentivization and stock valuation, incentivization, increase in valuations. So yeah, hopefully everybody else is able to play this betting game of committing to action betting games where you're able to activate your own incentivization packages by running the engines as the timing belt in the engines, running around all the pulleys to complete the circuitry, just like the philanthropy energy circuitry and the global philanthropy energy grid all around the world, global philanthropy energy grid all around the world, to be able to connect all human beings in the world. That's what Tech and Change for Game Studios as a company and a brand is all about doing and trying to do in the future motion of Tech and Change for Game Studios. Thanks again for today. Bye Tech, Change for Games. Bye Tech, Change for Game Studios. Bye, peace, bye.